in a minute. We'll talk to you in a minute. Yeah. Paris Eternal and the New York Excelsior, they both have 3 wins in the regular season, Rose, between them. It's it has looked pretty rough. And Johnny is right, really. I just like to mess with them a little bit. They've had some of the toughest opposition you could possibly have coming in as almost a brand new roster, right? New York Excelsior, they've not had a very good journey either thus far, but maybe this is the point where they gain some additional wins in the regular season, maybe even make it to the tournament. There's a lot to do today and tomorrow and Sunday, to be fair, in like sorting out where teams are going to be placed and who wins and who needs. There's a lot of maths going on, but it's still very possible for New York.
I mean, we saw some of the math, even just the Los Angeles Gladiators need to make it to the Summer Showdown. Like, that's actually words I never thought would come out of my mouth for this stage, but you're absolutely right. And even taking a look at this matchup, I mean, New York could still make it. Yeah, Paris out, but I think they're looking forward to what the season has ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, brand new start, and yeah, maybe get some dubs in the next qualifiers. We'll have to wait and see. Now, what's really funny about the next 3 days, Rose, is the Paris Eternal, the NYXL, and the Florida Mayhem all have to play each other. They ignore basically the rest of the Overwatch League team, and they just play each other once, which is kind of insane, which also determines who scrapes in today, scrapes into the tournament, and we'll find out that on Sunday. The Paris Eternal, like they mentioned, they're not in the Summer Showdown, but maybe a bit more practice against a team that's more on their level would be a nice little thing.
I mean, you got to think about it as well, is that Paris has exactly 1 win for the season as a whole. And that win just so happens to be against the New York Excelsior. So I know that the Paris Eternal roster now that we're looking at is different, but New York hasn't changed very much, Jack. Maybe they can at least take some of that learning opportunity they had in that first matchup to use it against New York today.
New York Excelsior. What you're telling me, Rose, is that New York Excelsior are scared of the chicken logo. That's what you're telling me.
Well, you know what?
They're scared of
You might have to be. It was a 3-2.
Maybe it goes the full distance. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Here is New York's starting roster. Who's really surprised at this point? Of course, both teams are going to play with this 6 for quite some time, I would imagine, unless there's some crazy switch-arounds later on in the season. But New York currently sitting at 1-3. Same with the Florida Mayhem. Like I said, it may just come down to that last match on Sunday where New York play Florida if it's not decided before then. But both those teams are sitting on 1-3. It's just Florida with that additional map under their belt, which is putting them ahead of New York currently. It's a scary situation to be in. You obviously want to make that tournament, but you're fighting over 4 places, and there's 2 teams that are currently sitting on 3-2 in the Vancouver Titans and the Houston Outlaws, who you can imagine are going to win. So even if you find a dub here, it's going to be tough. It's
still very fateful, and it's always scary when that ends up going out of your hands, but it is also, you know, hopeful that they can still get some type of map differential. I mean, the other thing that you have to look at here too that's very different with this head-to-head versus the last match between Paris and New York we saw earlier on in the season is that New York have had so much time to work together as well with the roster that they're currently running. They did add in Ansunjae a little bit sooner, so you know they're still doing well in terms of making that synergy coexist between Gangnam Jin and Ansunjae, but otherwise, that's a lot of players that have had time together, Jaws.
Yeah, that's just time is maybe what you need. Time heals all wounds, and what's crazy, actually, I was thinking about this yesterday, Rose, coming into this week. I'm like, man, this year has gone just absurdly fast. Like, we are over halfway through the year already. A lot of teams have either got a place in playoffs already or like the play-ins too, and it's you need to start finding dubs if you're New York or Paris to see yourself going to a playoff scenario. We'll have to wait and see. We're jumping into map number 1, kind of round a turn in that game, but it's all good. We're going to Ilios. I'm starting off on well, and no crazy changes here in terms of comps, but Flora is running the Ashe over Dove's Sojourn.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, and the Ashe and that Sojourn is always so different, but Florida being able to get up close and personal can definitely help because you get a chance to be a part of the action earlier on.
Oh, nice first pick by Dove, though. Good start from the Paraiso Eternal. Did take over that cage and is... Oh, that was a weird interaction, like a knife pull. Then he got the slide up into the high ground. What's quite funny is what Mitch was actually saying on Hollywood in our last series, where Ashe is like most effective with those big long sight lines, and you don't really get that here on Well. If you're set up and you have defense to the point, yeah, that's great, but coming in at an angle like this with like very small corridors to kind of look down, kind of rough for the Ashe.
It is tough, but I think you also want to consider how you get value out of the full of the kit, like including that coach gun. And so that's why I look at sometimes the Ashe can get a little bit more up close and personal, because you always have the ability to eject yourself out of the situation with the coach gun as long as everything is timed correctly and you have the support behind you like Gangnam Gym's Brigida.
50% towards that blade is Yaki currently, as New York are going to pressure the point. In fact, just cap it right underneath the feet of the Paraiso Eternal. Lucamino gets booped off the map, or maybe just whip-shotted. Not sure what happened, but they do end up trading as Yaki was just trying to contest at that point. Martho a little bit low, though. Dynamite. No pack.
No.
So no pack. So no pack, no heals. That's unlucky. Okay. New York Excelsior are going to be able to run over the Paraiso Eternal now, as they've lost a lot of their damage.
Yeah, what happened there? Maltha was well within a sight line to be able to get some type of healing. And that just feels super unfortunate. New York Excelsior as well, capping right under the noses of the Paraiso Eternal, means that they're about to match that percentage captured. And on top of that, you've got ultimates coming online now for both teams. And this is where the Ashe can be a big difference maker. You've got an extra presence on the point, and also a way to make sure that you are funneling the Paraiso Eternal where you want them to by shutting down an avenue with the Bob.
There's that rally. There's that Bob. Maltho going pretty low as he dives the backline of the New York Excelsior, but look at the pressure Flora is exerting right now. Dove had to deal with the Bob with the rest of his team. Oh, the nice little duck there, in fact, by Flora to dodge that railgun. Yaki's even earned himself a blade. That overhealth from the rally. Paraiso Eternal aren't going to be able to utilize that to push on to the point now as New York Excelsior hold them off with just the Bob. And the Paraiso Eternal looking a little bit lost currently. They're just going to regroup again as 6. I can imagine just waiting for that rallying cry, or the commanding shout even.
But look at
how...
how...
eventually make their way back in.
Yeah.
There's the blade. The beat's going to match. Yaki now backing off. A humongous dash on Malful, though, as he pulls out a blade of his own and takes care of Gangnam Jin, who had that rally in tow. Onsu J couldn't get that beat down quick enough before their brig was taken care of. And now it's a small duel on the edge of the map, but Flora is outmanned and outgunned as the Paraiso Eternal now try and push Excel off the point. 97% and building. They should be able to get it to 99 before Paraiso Eternal push them off.
Looks like they will be able to, but can New York even come back into this one? Because if they stall for long enough, maybe they can use the rally.
There's the rally, like you said. Dove choosing that ultimate too, but look, he's just looking every single direction of just not in front of the New York Excelsior. He does dive out the way of the Genji for the time being, but Yaki just hunts and chases him down. Dove had too many angles to try and peek there to try and get a kill and didn't find anything. A rampage from Quarry does hit one, but it's only Yaki as the rest of Excelsior are more than happy just to run over the rest of Eternal. Lucamino gets taken care of, and the NYXL are going to take round number 1.
Really clean play there from New York. I mean, they also allowed Paraiso Eternal to grab some of the space on point before making sure they had the reinforcements to re-engage with the rally. So while they ended up giving it up just for a few seconds, at the end, they were absolutely kitted out to be able to finish out that point. And this is why, despite the fact that it might look a little tricky to play the Ashe, I think Flora is one of those players that has such a high proficiency with it that you can use the Bob, try to control those angles. But let's look at how, you know, Rack Attack here.
This was...
Oh, no, it hit Dove instead.
You kind of look at him like,
no cookies left.
I'm
just
so
can't, sorry.
I can't do anything.
Oh, no.
It hit Dove. Unlucky, I guess. Yeah, that's just unfortunate timing, I suppose.
It's so hard because, like, how do you
pack.
line it? Yeah, how do you line it up, too, and get it completely accurate? No worries, Rack Attack. It's okay.
Happens to the best of us.
Yes, it does.
All right, so Flora is still staying on the Ashe. Quite a lot of high ground view to kind of utilize, but look at this. Maltho already trying to peek his head in, try and disrupt that backline presence of the Excelsior. Well, New York are more than happy, it seems like, just to move to the point. Marvel still doing a fair bit of damage, and now Flora's found himself running away from the front line of the Paris Eternal, right into the waiting arms of Crowie. That was almost a big boop off the edge there. Ganon-J. Ansu-J does manage to get Lukamina. Oh, Ansu-J boops 2 people off the map. I mean, that's just rough. That's real rough for Paris Eternal.
Yeah, but look how much charge Ansu-J walked away with from that engagement as well. I mean, this is very good to see Gangnam Jim and Ansu-J for New York Excelsior getting up to those supportive ultimates so quickly. But on the flip side of things as well, I don't think that Paris Eternal is too far behind when it comes to the pace of how they're working up to ultimates as well. So they're not out of this yet.
Yaki's 70% towards that blade as Dove ends up just going down. Same with Malfo. All right, just a regular vanilla engage. No ultimates. So, yeah, there you go. That was extremely quick. And Neil going to be super happy with that. Yaki's going to have Blade, and Paris Eternal's ults, especially their support bank rows, not looking great.
No, I mean, still, you're like, for the most part, Lukamino is keeping pace with Ansun-J, but without the rally, without having either of those support ults online, Yaki's Blade can continue to snowball this point pressure for New York. This is already 50% and counting, and with the Blade being able to hit some of those key targets in the back, that could be big here for New York.
Wow, Dove's already pretty low and used his slide. He's actually getting booped around by Ansun-J. Riley available for Excelsior as Flora uses that bomb. Going to hold off the Paris Eternal. In fact, just kill off Dove. They don't need to use anything else. They're going to use the bomb in the fight. More than happy. Paris Eternal, unfortunately, just getting cut to ribbons right now.
That was a stagger as well, so now all of a sudden we're looking at that last fight territory for Paris. They finally have a sound barrier and a rally to work with here, but can they even use it as an engagement tool when they have to look at it as a response mechanism to the blade that Yaki has held onto? I think Paris would have loved to see that ultimate get used way earlier.
Lukamino so low. Oh, no! Yaki actually got him in the air. Lukamino got booped up. Used that beat to try and keep his team in the fight, and Yaki just takes him to the skies. What an unbelievable boop and blade from the New York Excelsior. That was actually kind of sick. Okay, wow. And they win the map. Wow, look at that. That was crazy.
Wow.
That was a really nice boop and blade there. Jesus.
That was
Paris
a
Eternal
huge
had
play.
no say in that matter at all. That looked kind of rough. Kind of rough to start off the day, but New York Excelsior, with their back up against the wall, they need to win here today, Rose.
They really do. I mean, this is a map that we can see New York Excelsior play for to keep their tournament dreams alive. A win here means that they get to potentially live to see another day. So let's see if they can do it.
Oh, that was a very quick start. Very quick start on Control. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. Got map number 2. New York Excelsior. They want to take this home. They need to win here today to keep themselves in contention for a place in the Summer Showdown. All right, bit of a speed run there on control. New York looking good, I will say. They are looking pretty good. And they need to look good because they need to win. If they don't win, they are out. Summer Showdown is just around the corner. Literally, like, we're traveling like next week, Rose, to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting time. And yeah, I can imagine all the New York fans hoping that they make it there. Paris Eternal are already out, so they are just playing. I feel, especially with the time that they've had in the Overwatch League, it's like more practice, right? And that's what you really need. They face some incredibly tough opposition coming into this week. So maybe yeah, New York's more their speed. Didn't really look like it though on on control as New York ended that in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, unfortunately, that particular map didn't look terribly competitive. However, maybe this next one will be. We've seen that Paris Eternal can do some really cool things when it comes to defense and also when we incorporate longer sight lines. And I think that when we move to Paraiso, we're definitely getting those, especially when you look at the first point.
Be nice for Flora then in that case if he wants to just stick with the Ash.
That's also true.
Wouldn't say no at all. We get to see what they play because they're on defense first. See how Paris want to go for the attack. We've seen some crazy things on this map. We've seen from Farah, from Mayhem. We've seen a little different shades of comps.
Can we count that as like a... I feel like that's just Florida Mayhem though, Jaws. Like I don't know if that's like a Paraiso specific like compositional diversity thing or if it's just Florida Mayhem doing Florida Mayhem things.
Yeah, I've tried it a lot this stage already. Or was it Florida on this map? I can't remember. Well, some team played far on this map for a little bit. Just all I remember right now is Florida's Junkrat comps on Nepal.
It was so fun.
It was rather silly.
Ooh,
but,
wait, what's
I love
this?
it. I do love to see it.
Hang on a second.
Little Widow jumping headshot. Can he? If he picks Flora, that would be kind of big. No, look at that. No one.
Yeah, okay, so just like a quick duo swap here. I was really hopeful. I think that the Mercy damage boost makes sense there just to make sure that the Widowmaker, even if it's a body shot, is going to be doing a pretty significant chunk of damage to any target. But whoa!
Wow, Flora got clotheslined there. Jesus. All right, New Excelsior do end up picking up Crowie though. So harder for Paris Eternal to attack now without their JQ, their Junker Queen. Oh, even more so with Rack Attack going down to Yaki.
Okay, so back to the drawing board, Paris. It's okay. Lucamino has been doing a ton of work, though. 50% towards the sound barrier already. And even on top of that, too, you've got Malthal that's continuing to get pepper in that shuriken damage. And so that might be a really fast blade and sound barrier for Paris. Dove is getting really low, though. I can hear that damage coming in from Flora.
Yeah, look at Yaki's positioning with Ansun J. Same with Kellen. They're just running rings around Paris Eternal, forcing them to look like 6 different directions at once. As Flora's just happy to sit up on the high ground and just farm the front line of the Paris Eternal. There's 2 people dead so far in this fight for Paris, so there's only 3 left standing. Make that even less now as Crowie ends up going down. At least they pick up Gangnam Jin. In fact, both the supports in the Paris Eternal picking up kills, killing the other 2 supports on the NYXL side. So Excelsior should be able to come back in time, but they can't go for an aggressive hold now.
No, I mean, you gotta wait at least for Ansun J to be able to taxi back. I think it's still going to be a 5v5, but yeah, Paris can take a ton of space here. Look at this, they're already pressed all the way up to the point. This is the farthest that they've got so far on these attack pushes.
All right, there's the blade. Yaki trying to make an incision, but Lucamino was ready with the beat, and Crowie was ready with the damage to take him down. New York Excelsior have used both their support ultimates already as Paris Eternal get their last one online. So you see Ansun J there just Lucioing on top of a Dove in the background. Somehow that ended up working out, and now the 5th man has arrived. Bob making this more of an even fight as Crowie's just standing in front of him, and Gangnam Jin trying to cower behind the Bob. Lucamino finds 2 kills, and in fact, Gangnam Jin, it doesn't make it out alive, but there's still 2 people on the point. Make that 3 as Yaki, Kellen, and Ansun J are still fighting. Paraiso didn't even claim a single tick.
No, I mean, for what happened there, too, New York just had to have a few members back off, find a health pack really fast, and then come back in. And because of how much contest happened on that point, Paris didn't really get to make any progress until New York was trying to go heal themselves. So yeah, no progress at all. 1 minute left, Jaws.
All right, Dub trying to click on some heads. Ooh. Who's that trying to dice with death in the background? It's Yaki. Jeez, he was just poking his head out over and over again. Dub's at least in a nice position on high ground. New York are just crammed in this little fruit and veg store by the looks of it. Rampage hits 3. Oh, this should be good enough for a win here, the fight win at least. 40 seconds remain to the Paraiso. They got, what, 43% on point? Not the worst, but you really need to capture.
Whoa.
This could be New York Excelsior holding them on first.
I think so. I mean, you still have the Rampage from Crowy, and look at this, a last-minute pick here from Dove to also switch off the Sojourn and go to the Ashe. So maybe that dynamite damage is what Paris need right now to be able to just get in for Malfo to clean up these kills and maybe get the Dragon Blade online.
There's a dynamite, but Dove just jumps down into the unknown and almost gets killed for it. Yaki was just sitting there waiting for it. A nice two-man rampage is going to affect both Yaki and Kellen, and then, funnily enough, they're the only ones to actually survive.
Wow.
All right, no Bob, unfortunately, for Flora to even the odds in that fight as Paraiso, they claim first and get that payload going.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what they needed. I think Dove also was getting way more consistent damage with the Ashe as well. The Sojourn is only the better choice when you are able to constantly get those railgun quick picks. And if you don't feel like you have enough charge to keep firing those off in a rotation, then I think the Ashe just makes a lot more sense. Look at that. You can even see that as New York Excelsior all get balled up, look how many members get affected by a dynamite that Dove throws in.
All right, make no mistake. Excelsior are on the defense. They're not on the offense trying to move that payload. There's Bob. 6 players now for New York Excelsior as the blade gets pulled from Malfo. Double beat comes out, as well as that rally from Gangnam Jin, and now Rack Attack using his rally, but Dove and Rack Attack still going pretty low as the kills are finally coming through. Kellen ends Rack Attack's life, and yeah, they're on the offense. It seems like right now, Excelsior just pushing into the spawn, onto the spawn doors. That payload not really moved that much.
Hasn't moved a whole lot here. And now as well, when New York Excelsior get a chance to have this high ground control, this puts Paris Eternal into a very difficult spot to get out. Look at that, they just throw the bomb out to get out of spawn.
There's the bomb. He's got high ground. Yaki's scared, so is the rest of Excelsior. But they're just sustaining through that damage. In fact, at this point, it's just equaling a lot of free support ult charge for Excelsior. Didn't really find all too much. Yaki's still trying to play doorman at the bottom angle. It's only Malfo there, who's also pretty low, so it should be good for the time being. Oh, look at Mina, just gets rolled coming out of the spawn door. Same with Rack Attack, they can barely peek their heads out.
This is so rough. And like, where do you go as well? Because especially when Yaki can keep, look at this, popcorning off of the high ground up top of the stairs and like kind of peeking to see if anybody is trying to come out of that lower spawn door.
Nice dynamite.
Ooh.
Ganajin goes down, but look at that three-man rampage from Kellen right on the spawn doors. Malfo. He eventually got past Yaki and found 2 kills, and now the payload is being contested. Make that 3, in fact. Okay, Malfo's the one to open this one up for Paris Eternal. But Excelsior have done their job, bros. There's only 10 seconds to go. It's going to be OT before they round this, even this next corner, to be fair. Excelsior just need to win this one fight.
Yeah, and look, they're pretty prepped to do so. I mean, Ansunjae going to have the sound barrier coming online, and in the way that New York Excelsior have been playing it just a bit more aggressive, Paris Eternal can't afford to overextend. You know that New York will take full advantage of that when they move in. Crowley's got to get this Rampage online. Mouth of the Blade also. That's a huge, huge tool for them to have.
They are pretty close. They can't lose people early. And I say that Lucamino already dies. And Excelsior just pile on that pressure. Instant beats from Excelsior. And they know they can run over Paris Eternal because they use a lot of ults in that last fight. And there it is. There is where the payload will lie. That corner just before that second point. Excelsior looking good so far. This feels like a brand new, not like a brand new team, but the tempo in which they're playing, I feel like is unlike what we've seen from Excelsior in the past couple of weeks.
Well, you called out such a great play at the end of the first map as well, where the Dragon Blade helped to secure a pick onto Paris Eternal's Lucio, and the way that that ended up happening, that would have never happened if it wasn't a full team effort. And so we're seeing a lot of these really nice moments from New York where the players are working together to come up with these strategies. I think another great example on this map in particular is when we watch Flora and Yaki work together, where a Dynamite goes in, maybe Kellen gets a Rampage, and Yaki is there right away to follow up that damage. And that's this clinical style for this composition we want to see. And New York showing that is so great. Let's watch this Malfo play, though. Getting out of spawn.
Kill, yeah? Oh, yeah. Ganojin didn't really stand a chance there, unfortunately. Nice mechanics, though, from Malfo. Good Shuriken accuracy, too.
Woo!
And the deflection? Okay.
That's
like
nice.
That. Very nasty. Okay, triple headshot with right click. When does that ever happen? Okay. Is aim with the right click pretty good, apparently?
Well, so this is what we've all been
saying,
right? About the Paris Eternal roster, despite the fact that they haven't had too much time together, they fit into this meta really nicely. And so we are hoping that, you know, Paris can use this as just kind of, all right, yeah, we might be out of the tournament right now, but we're still playing against teams that we might be playing later on in the season as well. So let's get those fundamentals down and get that team synergy going so that when the next stage comes around, we're prepared and we're ready to show everybody what we've got. Paris has all the pieces together, but New York right now is making a beeline for the point.
You see them deathballing right there. Just all sped up at once. They've used their commanding shout. Malfo is on the side. He has a low, no deflect, no dash now. Might be able to get out alive. He does, but Dove not quite so lucky. Neither is Luca Mino. Hardly any support for the Paris Eternal as Rack Attack loses the 1v1 to Yaki. And just like that, the payload is unlocked.
And that payload doesn't have too far to go afterwards as well. It's stopped right before that second objective. And now as well, when you know that Paris Eternal are trying to come back from spawn, you can see Flora, Kellen, they're all pushed up to be able to scout out where Paris Eternal want to get set up, and that's really going to help inform the game plan that New York want to have to try to get to that final point. I think a lot of this as well is going to come down to who gets an ult online first. Yaki is so close to that Dragon Blade, and once again, we are seeing that outpace the support ultimates from Paris.
5 minutes is a crazy time bank.
That is a lot.
For this push, and they don't even need to make it to that point, right? It's on that just that final corner. Yep, like you mentioned, Yaki close to the blade, 10% away. He can just jump up there, maybe a little dash through, maybe a little poking. He should be good to go.
Look at how they're playing around the stairs, though. I think just trying to find a pick. Paris Eternal have got to play this so safe, though. They want this high ground advantage, but there's also so many ways that New York can dislodge that. One of those, I think you just saw Ansunjae on the Lucio just going in and booping everybody off of the high ground.
Oh, there they go. They're off the high ground, Rose, and Yaki's got that blade. Commanding shout comes out, same with the Bob. It actually just flattens Malfo. Just absolutely stepped on. There's the rally from Rack Attack. The only thing left to keep them in the game, but Yaki is going to deny them that and deny them a pleasure of this map as 2-0 for the New York Excelsior. And what's turning out to be quite a quick series. New York, they know they need to win here to keep themselves in contention in the Summer Showdown. And yeah, that is fast. Some good signs there from Eternal. You know, Malfo looking pretty good on the Genji, but just completely outgunned right now by Yaki.
I think it's tough when Yaki also has that veterancy, having so many more official matches under his belt, and also having to play under this pressure, right? New York are still looking at keeping their tournament dreams alive. And if it's a 3-0, Jaws, that's got to feel so good and put you in such a good spot for that final qualifier match and that map differential.
Definitely going to put yourself in a good mental space, that is for sure. I mean, when you come down to the wire, that's what you need. You need to be in the game. You need to be ready to rock and roll. And New York Excelsior are looking fantastic so far with a 2-0. Can they round it out on the next map? We'll have to wait and see after this. Everybody, welcome back. Oh, don't forget, Fan Art Gallery is open. If you want to join this talented group of OWL community artists, we'd love to have you submit your art celebrating the Summer Showdown vibes for a chance to be featured on the Overwatch League Fan Art Gallery and on broadcast, overwatchleague.com/art-gallery. Go over there and submit your summer-themed artwork. We are going into Toronto, the land, soon, so it'll be good to see a lot more artwork being displayed on the broadcast. It'll be fantastic. All right, back to the game at hand, though. New York Excelsior currently 2-0 up against the Paris Eternal. What's been quite a quick affair, and a little bit of a crazy stat for you coming into the third map. Kellen has only died once in the first two maps, so
both maps.
Pretty insane. Pretty insane, yeah. So maybe he can keep a deathless map number 3, so he's only died once during the whole series. We'll have to wait and see. We are going to Junkertown as our escort map.
That'd be ridiculous.
That would have to break a record, surely, if someone only died once during... Have we had any deathless? Maybe we have. Have we had any deathless games? I'd have to, like, scrub the archives, wouldn't you, for, like, stats and stuff, but... Still, having only one death throughout the series would be pretty crazy, although not guaranteed. Have to wait and see. New York Excelsior on the defense first for Junkertown. Paris on the attack.
So when I look at this map, I just kind of feel like it fits New York Excelsior's playstyle. We've got Yaki and Flora, who both do impressive long-range damage, and especially when this is kind of classically a sniper map. You know, sometimes we see like the Hanzo and the Widowmaker. Ashe sort of fits into that category, depending on how you look at it. So I feel like Flora getting a chance to set up on the Ashe here is just such a huge boon for New York.
Definitely feels good for Flora on defense. What do Paris Eternal want to run out of the game? I don't think they're going to run the ball or the Orisa.
I don't think so.
It would be rather fun, to be fair.
I would be down for it. We haven't seen too much Orisa just yet. It's just I think she's a little too slow right now for how the meta is playing out. And I don't think you really want to subject yourself to the Junker Queen just walking into you. But this is pretty smart here. You can see that, you know, there's some Sonic arrows to kind of see what's going on. Dove also just on the Cassidy real fast with Rack Attack on the Mercy too, just to see if you can push New York away from the spawn before being able to walk out. But this is the comp that Paris Eternal are going to establish for Junkertown, and they're going to stick to this.
Yes, they are. Flora dead. Oh no, Kellen. Kellen, stay alive. Only have one death, please. Oh, nice little boob. Oh, met with a railgun. Anti-J boost Rack Attack off the map. Yaki takes care of Lucamino. Yaki is just having a game right now, or a series, I should say. Guy's a menace on the Genji.
So good. I mean, Kellen as well. Everybody on New York. They are going to back up a little bit because they lost a few members doing that closer hold, but they still are able to regroup here. And they're playing together so well as a team. They're almost always grouped up. Maybe Yaki on the side to be able to get these flank angles onto Paris. But otherwise, I mean, the way that they're set up here, oh no, Maltho.
Oh, Anson-J super low. Takes a headshot from Krawi as he goes down. Flora's doing a fair bit of damage with that Dynamite Rose, but it's not enough to stop the assault of the Paris Eternal. Ganajin, Flora already dead. Krawi swinging that axe. They're still moving the payload though, mind you. Worth keeping in mind. Oh, and this is Kellen's second death of the series. There you go. Not breaking any crazy records today. As Paris, they will be able to get point A.
Yeah, this is good, looking good for them as well, because with these quick team fight wins for Paris, yeah, okay, they didn't get a full team wipe onto New York, so they're losing out on some of the ultimate charge there, but I think after that team wipe there, and then also getting that first point, they have a lot of time and space to work with. Dove gonna have the overclock, Maltho with the blade, the sound barrier. Paris now just feel like they're in so much of a better spot as long as Lucamino gets time to get the sound barrier online before Yaki goes in with the blade.
He's pretty close, only 3% away. Might be in trouble if Yaki goes and pulls it now. Speaking of which, but no, there's Lucamino with the beat, hits 5. And a blade pull from Maffle too. Trying to go for that anime duel almost, but Answer J, oh, who shot the deflects? Team kill, straight Ricocheting straight into Anson J's skull. That's rather unfortunate. Paraiso Eternal, though, with good support ult usage there by Lucamino, got that beat up just in time. Ganajin had the rally, but Anson J fairly far away from that beat. Couldn't use in that fight. They'll have it for next, but that feels pretty rough still.
It does. I think you're still happy about being able to have the sound barrier to be able to deal with the rampage that would be coming out from Krawi. But, you know, you have to kind of think about when you're going to use this. Do New York, even before using the sound barrier, have enough sustain for anything else on Paris?
There's the ball. Only rally to sustain the Paraiso Eternal. New York have beat. A humongous ultimate from Kellen there. Hits 3. Krawi going super low, 1 HP. Survives somehow. Paraiso Eternal support line now desperately trying to heal him up as Kellen gets chased down. Full HP for Krawi almost as he peeks his head out and jumps back on the payload to contest. Coach gun away from Flora, but it's only Anson J now to touch the point. And Krawi's still holding onto this rampage. Paraiso Eternal in a good spot. Now Yaki, now Anson J. They're both trying to touch. They both get antied from the ult from Krawi, and that will be point B unlocked. Paraiso Eternal turn this speed run on its head.
Ooh, Flora's at 1. Flora's at 1 HP. Go away. Oh, no.
He's dead.
I was going to say, like, how did Flora survive so long on 1 HP? Tried to make it to that Mega, couldn't get there in time. That's actually a pretty big stagger as well. In fact, Flora is just going to give up all of that, for most of that charge from the Ashe, switch over to the Sojourn here. And I think that's a way better play, just given the area that we're working with on this third point. I think the Ashe was good, but there's just so much space that Paris can kind of walk around the Dynamites.
Oh no, that bleed damage on Flora couldn't quite get healed up in time. Both Junker Queens picking up a kill for themselves. New York Excelsior still in a fairly decent position with this high ground hold, but Paraiso Eternal have been moving the payload for free this whole time, pretty much. It's around the final corner, basically.
Look at that, too. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like Paris can just kind of play the cards. The rotating platform makes it a little bit more difficult because New York can constantly get some type of sightline onto the cart. So Paris do have to approach this from the high ground. Oh my god,
Disruptor dies to Disruptor shot and a headshot shuriken there from Malfoy, who ends up pulling that blade. He's got the commanding shout to give him some overhealth, a bit more sustained, but no, Yaki hits a reflect kill onto Dove, and Flora takes care of Malfoy, so both DPS from the Paraiso Eternal already taken care of. There is a rally to chew through, but it shouldn't be that difficult, as there's 5 members still alive for New York Excelsior, as they do hold. No gold split, unfortunately, for Paraiso Eternal. Couldn't quite get the payload onto that third point, but it's still pretty close.
And they still have 2.5 minutes. There's still a lot of time that Paris can push this in. And right now, they have the perfect response for Yaki's Dragon Blade. Maybe they also get Dove up to the overclock for after the sound barrier is over. There's a lot of things that Paris can do here. And it's so smart, Jaws, because they're constantly going after Anson J.
Dave and Yaki playing more defensively, trying to protect his supports with the blade. New York Excelsior now just having to move themselves all the way to their spawn, as Kellen was pretty low. Paraiso Eternal has a free bit of high ground. Maybe Dove can use it. Already used that ultimate. Overclock is getting a decent-ish damage done until Excelsior did end up pulling that beat. Very quick speed back from Paraiso Eternal, but New York Excelsior gained all that space back pretty much.
And now that's 2 fairly large ultimates from Paraiso Eternal off the table, whereas New York Excelsior can go clap back with that rampage. Kellen has hit some pretty big ones in this series as well, but ooh, a takedown here, they might not even need it.
Oh, that rampage was huge. Krawi's gonna die to just the bleed. Oh, what a knife by Kellen. Okay, okay. God, we gotta get a montage of like good knives.
Yeah.
At the end of this year, or like at the end of this tournament.
That would be fun.
Sick.
That would be very fun to see. I think that Junker Queens just across the board have had a pretty strong time with the knives and the rampage. I think you could make a really good video of that, most definitely. Krawi has a chance actually to use it too.
Yeah, it's definitely harder too, because everybody's sped up using the Lucio speed boost, so those knives are infinitely harder to hit.
Yep.
Ganajin goes down. Nice knife hit by Krawi there, but look at Excelsior right now. They just want to try. They already lost one, so they're like, okay, I guess we'll just kind of fight near these doors, just stall Paraiso for as long as possible, but 3 ults for Paris on this last fight. Excelsior going to have to rely on this rally.
Yeah, absolutely huge here. Crowley could just go ahead and hit the rampage, and at that point, the rally might not even have time to actually pepper on that shield. You can hear it now, but oh no.
Oh, Ganonjin is so low! He gets taken out mid-rally, and you called it, Rose. That rampage from Crowley did seal the deal at the end. Paris Eternal, you know, how the first 2 maps went, you think New York Excelsior would be in control, but Paris Eternal, they managed to complete. 16 seconds remaining, they did get basically all their time bank burnt off on that last point, but still, completion is a completion at this point. Crowley's massive Junker Queen ultimate followed up that blade was all they really needed.
Well, it's not even just that, though. The reason why Paris Eternal even got themselves set up in this position is because of how much focus fire they've been putting onto Ansunjae on New York Excelsior's backline. It's been quite a few times now, Jaws. We've seen that Lucio go down first, and that removes so much of New York Excelsior's positional advantage, where they don't have the ability to kite away because that speed boost is offline. The Junker Queen commanding shout speed is not enough by itself to be able to contest when Lucamino, for example, can hit the speed boost when Ansunjae isn't present. So Paris have just done a fantastic job of denying that mobility and then also the ult charge. Ansunjae has been behind getting these sound barriers online.
Yeah, he's been picked a couple of times first, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Disrupt shot from Dove, a couple of headshots from Malfoy Shurikens.
Exactly.
I mean, Malfoy can also just pay attention to him when he's up in the skies, can dash, get a nice little reset off him. Yeah, Ansunjae can't be going down first, especially in a comp that does rely quite heavily on the speed boosts. All right, we'll see what Crowley and Kellen have got on this payload. They just tussle it out. Commanding Shout's already been used. In fact, Dove's going pretty low. Yaki's just trying to pay attention to him, just take care of him, but Dove refuses to go down. Scurries back to his support and will get healed up. Decent offense, though, so far from Excelsior as they take care of Crowley. That should be good.
Yeah, looks good for New York Excelsior to get out of spawn. It's not before Paris Eternal do take a few more names, but Yaki, my goodness. That is just a good, you know, plenty enough of kills to be able to start working up to that Dragon Blade. But Ansunjae as well, just doing so much damage and healing. So New York have a really nice game plan ahead of them where they are going to be able to use this Dragon Blade before Lucamino's sound barrier comes online. Especially if Yaki keeps playing like this, absolutely that's going to outpace.
Rakatak's so close to that rally, though. He's already got it online. He must have done a crazy amount of damage early on. And there it is. They're actually just going to use it first to try and fight on this corner. Their target is Gangnam Jin. Falls over instantly. Not even a boot from Ansunjae can save it. They do end up getting the kill onto Dove, do the Excelsior, but Paris Eternal still more than willing to fight, gain some free ult charge. Lucamino might have that sound barrier in time now, Rose, for that blade.
Yes, that was perfectly timed by Paris. Getting that rally online so early, I mean, Rakatak has been doing phenomenal in the front line to be able to even have that available. And so now, yeah, that bought enough time. I think Lucamino might be okay here. Yaki's getting in position, though, so it's got to come up fast.
Oh, nice little slide away from Flora there as he got dragged in by that knife. Oh, a little duel. Flora comes out on top this time around as now Paris Eternal determined to defend on first. Use that beat to push on forwards. Malfoy pulls the play, takes care of Ansunjae already. And now Yaki trying to come up with something, but not much else can be done. He's 6 HP, running for the hills. He might be able to survive, but the rest of his team are not quite so lucky. Malfoy and Crowley now just trying to deal with Kellen, who's still doing a fair bit of damage in the front. They trade Carnage swings, that axe doing a fair bit of damage, but now the New York Excelsior come back. A speed boost and a rally from New York. They're back on the scene already. Ansunjae does get hit with that rampage, but it doesn't matter. He had the beat in his back pocket, ready to rock and roll, and Rakatak and Dove now suffer from that fate. First point should be good. Paris Eternal with a valiant defense on point A will burn a fair bit of ults from Excelsior's bank, but more importantly, New York claiming that point.
Yeah, that actually was a tough one for New York. They needed every single ultimate that they got online in order to capture the point. I think the Paris should feel really good about that defense. Not only that, but look at how long it took New York to actually capture the point. 3 minutes now to get through second. I mean, this one could still go by like a breeze. But when you look at the fact that Rakitak, because of how early he got that rally online, might have another one. New York are going to have to take an eco push. They've got to get some ults online.
Oh, Rakitak's got that rally ready to go again.
Yeah, look at that already.
Very much. He's almost lapping Gangnam Jin on the rally charge, which is kind of insane.
Yep.
Dub had to get out of there rather quickly. Yaki once again just trying to take care of Double, trying to distract him long enough for the rest of his team to do something, but unfortunately that something is nothing.
Yeah, you can't do much here, especially when you're waiting for Florida now to come back. I mean, look at Kellen as well. How do New York want to push this? Paris Eternal have the high ground, but the stairs behind them make it very easy for them to rotate here.
There's the rally, there's the speed. Pro going pretty low. Yaki sees his mark, but can't quite get on him. Look, the amount of attention they're paying to him right now, just trying to boop him away, stop him from doing anything. Even this chip damage is good enough to stop him from going super aggro. Anshin J ends up going down to a headshot, and now Malfoy goes in with the blade. Nice little boop there from the Brig, but it's not enough to stand in the way of Malfoy. Still just tearing havoc for Excelsior right now. Yaki's been shut down at every opportunity possible.
This is a different Paris. I don't know what they did in the halftime, Jaws, but it's working. Whether it is target focus onto Ansunjae or maybe it's the focus onto Yaki, both of these players have been key. Oh, he goes down again!
Wow, Ansunjae just not having a good map at all. Even the Excelsior, they've got a minute to go. Paris, just the adamantium mental in half-time. Coming up huge in this third map, keeping them in this series.
They could just maybe full stop New York here on second point. Look at how many ultimates Paris are going to have, that sound barrier as well. Yaki still hasn't used the Dragon Blade. I mean, New York has double support ults, so that could be the sustain that they need to just push through these damage ults for Paris. But it's not looking good. I mean, even just trying to get into the second point has been a struggle for New York, no matter where they try to contest from.
All right, double support ult available for Excelsior. They pull the blade and pull the rally. What can Paris do in response? They've already used that beat now. They've got to be worried. Excelsior still have a beat of their own. Support advantage very much in favor of New York, but Krawi still sitting on the high ground. The rampage could be pretty big. He does get booped, and he gets absolutely nobody. Excelsior use the beat. They're going to push on forward now. Gangnam Jim in the front line taking a lot of damage. Does end up backing off. All that overhealth burnt through pretty quickly, but overtime has arrived.
Has arrived, but New York Excelsior might have arrived even bigger. Kellen ready with the rampage right now, pushing everybody back.
He's trying to line someone up. He does manage to score Dove, but Rakitak could keep him in this. No, he cannot. Rakitak so close to that rally. They need to get it online. Floor and Gangnam Jin do end up going down. Paris Eternal finding 15 fights at once. It's a 1v1v1v1v1, but now Rakitak and Malfell got their sights set on Yaki. They got the rally, they got the health, and they're going to collect this map. They're keeping themselves in the series as New York go down on Junkertown.
Wow, look at that. Paris, they look like they're pretty pleased with themselves right now. Taking a map off of New York, maybe dwindling New York's chances a little bit too, but more importantly for Paris, they looked way better on this map than the maps previous.
Massive turnaround. Maybe upgrading
Insane.
that Adamantium Mental to a Runite one? Not sure. Let's go to a quick break though. Paris Eternal, can they upset New York's chances of making the Summer Showdown? We'll have to wait and see after this.
Do you have any pets? If yes, what kind and names?
말티즈 조그마한 강아지 한 마리 키우고 있고요. 이름은 짱이입니다.
I have 2 dogs in New York, one named Brooklyn and one named Betsy. I love them to death.
강아지랑 고양이 다 있는데 강아지 이름은 콩이고요.
I have 2 dogs. One's named Lily, one's named Rosie. They're both Chihuahuas.
고양이 이름은 이제 호두, 마루, 체리 이렇게 세 마리 있습니다.
애완동물 강아지 한 마리 키우고 있고요. 이름은 공주입니다.
I have 2 pets back home in Illinois. 2 Chihuahuas, Chip and Grace. Really sweet dogs.
저는 집에 강아지 포메라니안 한 마리 키우고요. 이름은 소미, 약간 솜사탕 같이 생겨가지고 소미라고 지었습니다.
애완동물 골든 리트리버 키우고 있고요. 이름은 로아입니다.
The favorite is probably going to be Lily. The other one's kind of aggressive, but Lily's like the opposite.
First map's a couple of rough for Paris, but Junkertown was quite an easy feat for them, it felt like, Rose, as we're going on to push as our next game mode. We're going to Colosseo.
Yeah, they looked so good, so much better. It actually felt like they were working together as a team and making use of the strengths as well. I mean, we saw Maltho have some pop-off moments on the first 2 maps in this series, on Ilios and on Paraiso in particular. That one was really clutch. But Junkertown finally relying a little bit more on Maltho, and also just the target focus and priority for Eternal was just on point.
Yeah, Rakatak was also just farming the rallies.
Yeah.
Too. That was kind of insane. Gano and Jim was getting lapped, it felt like sometimes. It's not really where you want to be if you're a Brig. If you're getting lapped that bad, like, rally is just such a key ultimate in this meta. You cannot let that go. So I put so much emphasis on, well, I guess you kind of always do on the support ultimates because they're so powerful, like Beat,
Yeah.
Rally in this meta, Nano and others, Transcendix, etc. Like, if your supports end up dying, you get literally no support. Yeah, it does feel pretty bad. Colosseo might be a little bit of a different beast. We know how Yaki can be. There's just so many more ways he can get onto the backline. But this could be the star of week for Paris. Like, I don't want to put I don't want to put it out into the universe just yet, but NYXL or Nuke Excelsior even, they need this win. If they don't win here, they are out.
Yep. They don't want to be out just yet. I mean, Paris at this point too, if they could play spoiler, even if New York win with a 3-2 now, I mean, Paris with that map win just actually made it so much harder for New York. That map differential might not go in New York's favor, but that's what Paris can play for right now, is to prove that they've got this and that they are getting better.
Yeah, those 4 spots in the Summer Showdown still up for grabs, of course. Numbers 1 through 4 have already been locked in by Shock, Fuel, Defiant, and Justice. It's just those 4 other slots, so still a lot can happen this weekend, and we're only just starting. And we've obviously got a banger of a game coming up next. Won't really impact any of the teams down the lower half of the board, but it'll be a banger nonetheless. Right, same old story, I can imagine, for Excelsior.
Yeah.
Maybe Flora does want to run the Ashe on this map. Of course, a massive sightline where the bot is in the center. And when you do get up to high ground, if you're on the offense or even on the defense, it can be quite devastating. But it looks like Flora just wants to go for the Sojourn instead.
I think it's just more explosive damage, right? When we talk about the Sojourn versus the Ashe, Ashe is more consistent, Sojourn has some pop-offs, and oh, we have great examples of what Sojourn can do on Colosseo specifically. So I think this just does make a little bit more sense when you also have the angles to play from too, kind of like in the older days of this Overwatch 2 season, when we saw Soldier 76 flanking around the map. You definitely do that with the Sojourn as well.
Oh man, yeah, the Soldier with the J's on, like him sprinting plus the DPS passive speed boost was insane stuff.
Exactly.
All right.
Who's
I'm
getting
also
the
not going
first
to put
pick?
out into the universe, but no one's died yet. It's just the Sojourns.
Okay, how much?
Waiting for picks.
Okay, it's been a minute.
Has. Ooh. Flora took a very aggro angle. He's got a nice little angle. He can just kind of play around that central column, but that's about it. I mean, Dove's still trying to trade damage. So the Genji's doing the most damage right
Yeah.
now. Yaki and
no.
Malphite. Although, to be fair, they're doing damage to each other. They're not really impacting any much more of the fight. Just like jumping up into the sky, just hitting each other with a few shotguns. That's about it. Malphite does go pretty low, though. And in fact, this is Paraiso trying to make a play. Commanding shout all the way forward. Galenjin's in trouble. Someone's got to save him. That shield does break. He's got real no defense, but he might not need it. Malphite just gets rolled by Yaki there, who comes on the defensive. Here come the kills. And Excelsior, they find a team kill.
Okay, a minute 40. Not too bad. Let's get this payload moving. I think with that pick as well, I mean, Yaki just constantly seems to be getting up to these blades as the fastest DPS on the field. This is good, though, for Paris, because Lucamino is keeping up. So even if Yaki does get the blade ready for this next fight, Lucamino has a pretty nice answer for it, too. And it matters so much more having a sound barrier for the blade specifically in this
I wonder
meta.
how much New York know about this beat. I mean, it might not even matter now. Yeah, Lucamino's just going to hold on to it. Malphite went down first. There's another team kill for Excelsior. However, you kind of take that if you're Paris. Like, obviously it's pretty bad, right? You lose the fight, but you don't end up using the beat, so you have it for next. And at least you can match Ansun J's, and then you're going to have your DPS ults come up. So it's not the end of the world. It would feel extremely terrible if you ended up losing the sound bar, if you were Lucamino. There's the overclock, but...
Oh, man. I mean, they might have to. The way that New York is playing up like this, Paris might need to use a sound barrier just to engage to stop the bot from entering butt scratch mode.
Oh, Kellen could go crazy.
They don't get
Uses
there.
the ult, hits too. Malphite and Dove in trouble. They're burning down, but that beat that was saved by Lucamino does keep them healthy. There's the rally to follow up. Paris Eternal determined to stop that bot, but it has entered the butt scratch mode and left the butt scratch mode as it does round this hairpin corner. Now Excelsior, more than happy with this. They got a B to still rely on. B comes out from Malphite. Doesn't hit Yaki, but it hit the players that are in the sights of the Genji blade. Flora's in trouble, dashes away, and now Malphite on the payload all by his lonesome. Oh no, he didn't get it! Oh, he gets back on. His team luckily are finishing the fight on the other side of the map. Kellen dead. The rest of them are soon to follow. Yep, Flora, that health pack just got taken, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. Oh, the bot got to the checkpoint right under Paris's noses as well. So, you know, those closer spawns have been unlocked, and despite the fact that Paris can take the bot back and it's going to be, you know, hustling over to their side of the map to start pushing, New York's back already. They're about to play in the neutral right now, and they have the rally potentially to work with.
All right, they really got to win this fight. Ultimate coming out from Krawi. Rampage hit 2. Kellen and Flora in trouble. Dove's overclock didn't really get too much, but that it was really just the tank ult there from Paris Eternal. There's the commanding shout. Should be good enough. Rack attack still. Double whip shot kill there. Goodbye, Ansunje. Has earned himself a rally.
The rally can be really useful too, though. I mean, I think you hope, though, for New York that Ansuji might be able to get a sound barrier up for later. But now you have to contend against Paris with double support ults, and Gangnam rally just might not be enough. I think they could pop it pretty early, though, and get that shield starting to go quicker.
Oh, there's the rally pulled from Excelsior already. Paris Eternal a little bit more patient with theirs, hoping that Excelsior's overhealth wears off before they need to use the rally of their own. Paris Eternal still just marching on forward, and regardless of that rally, Lucamino still comes up big with a boop kill. New York Excelsior don't really know what to do with themselves right now by the looks of it. They end up just falling over, and this could be butt scratch mode right here for Paris Eternal if they don't lose any more. Big ultimate though, hits 2. Can that beat coming just in time? It can. It hits both Dub and Krawi to keep them in the fight. That rally comes up big for the Paris Eternal. Both support ultimates making sure they're staying alive and healthy. Excelsior pushed all the way back on what was a crazy good rampage from Kellen. They're going to make sure that checkpoint doesn't get unlocked as Yaki pulls that blade. They know they don't have support ultimates to back them up this time around, so he quickly dispatches a rack attack. Lucamino goes pretty low, doesn't end up going down, but what was important there for Excelsior was that Paris Eternal did not get that checkpoint.
They did succeed. So now New York can go in with these ults that they've saved. They don't even need them right now to make it back towards the midway point and then some. And at this point, New York, with less than 4 minutes remaining, they just have to play to keep the lead. They have the tools to do so. Soundbear in response to Malthal's Blade, the overclock as well from Flora, just to potentially just shut down everybody on Paris before they can move in. But Paris does have the high ground, so Dove has a potential slight advantage here to use the overclock of his own. Malthal, though, going into the back.
Oh wow, Dove in a whole heap of hurt. Oh, taking the duel with Flora. Trying to spot each other out. Oh, they both exchange body shots. Flora comes out on top of that one, though. Still pretty decent for Excelsior. They got a beat. And with 3 minutes to go, with the bot in their possession, kind of, and the lead, they do feel pretty good about going into this fight. Blade from Malthal, countered with the beat. Now he just backs off. Now it's just a waiting game. Once again, just waiting for either a kill or for New York Excelsior to just march on forward. They're going to rally. As soon as that overhead from the beat worn off, then they can just run on in. But the Paraiso responding kind with a beat. And with Kellen and Gangnam Jin falling over to Dove, Paraiso are now going to regain control. However, Dove is going pretty low, and Ansuji actually comes out with a big kill. But that disruptive shot should be good enough to keep Dove alive just for the time being. Wait for that commanding shout to come back online. But Ansuji still being just a thorn in this side of Paraiso. He almost wiped the entire team on his own.
This is why they've been focusing down on Sunjae so much recently.
God, he's so annoying. He's just like jumping everywhere and just like doing damage. He almost took care of Dove there with the help of Yaki. Like,
frogs are pretty slippery, okay? Like,
true.
Have you ever held a tree frog? Those are hard to hold. That's all I have to say. But yeah, I mean, now Paris Eternal, they're starting to approach that checkpoint again. I just don't know if the Rampage is going to be enough for the rally even against this Blade.
That Rampage hits 4, that overhealth, not good anymore. Paris Eternal got to taste their own medicine there with 1 minute and 40 to go. And with a complete wipe for Excelsior. With an overclock. They're going to have beat coming up. This looks like it's almost in the bag. Just Paraiso need to find a way for Excelsior to make a mistake. If they find another fight or like even just an overclock headshot from Flora, this map could be over and the series could be done.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at as well. Flora just having that overclock ready to go. Where is Flora set up right now? Oh, Flora's in spawn. Never mind. Let's go, Paris.
Okay, set up to go back to spawn. I mean, that looked like a little combo there from Malthal, maybe. I saw his little Genji silhouette dash to the backline. Ganajin takes care of him, though, quite handily with a little whip shot. And don't forget, Yaki is still alive. Feeling like the majority of their damage right now is relying on Yaki. Flora's going to come back. Oh, who's in the backline? Oh, well, it's the Lucamino. However, Gangnam Jin, with the speed boost from both Krawi and Lucamino, Gangnam Jin didn't see that coming. 40 seconds to go, and Paraiso are not out of this just yet.
No, and the best part about them winning that engagement with just such a quick pick onto Flora is that not only do they sort of take away Flora's agency here to get set up and really use that overclock where he wants to, because this bot is going to round this corner and you don't have those longer sight lines anymore, but Paris Eternal also packing one of their own.
Yeah, he's already dead. Flora's still trying to find a kill with that right click. Oh, the boop from Lucamino pushed Gangnam Jim over the edge of the map. Huge environmental kill from Paris Eternal to keep them competitive. Checkpoint unlocked, but scratch mode initiated. Flora comes back from spawn and Krawi's life. But look at that gold line of victory. Paris Eternal know they have to just stay alive on this point. Rack Attack holding the fort down as he gets the bot moving, but not before Excelsior can put him on and contest. Blade comes out, but Yaki quickly ends Malthal's life. Lucamino also falls, and this should just be it. Excelsior at the last corner managed to wipe Eternal. Overtime ticks down, and Excelsior still in with a chance at making it to the Summer Showdown with a dub under their belt here today.
Paris put up such a good fight, though. That was not an easy victory for New York. Even at the tail end of that map of Colosseo, Paris might have had that. Paris might have had that if they had maybe one more ult in the tank. So this was a good showing from Paris. I'm very excited to see what happens with them for the rest of the season.
I mean, that was a huge pick-off by Lucamino. Boop Gangnam Jin over the edge, who was coming up on the rally. Just the spawns were too good at the very end, and yeah, NYXL take the victory, 3-1. They're of course hoping for a 3-0 to not guarantee themselves, but put themselves in a better position. But you take 3-1 any day of the week. They're going to be facing Mayhem in the last game on Sunday. I mean, the places could have already been decided by that point, but if they haven't, it's going to be Mayhem and New York Excelsior fighting for that last spot. That's all over my head. The maths will have to be done a little bit later down the line by people a lot smarter than me. Paraiso, though, like you said, Rose, still with a decent showing today, and it's going to be exciting to see where they end up after this tournament cycle. But player of the match, got to give it to somebody, and why not give it to Yaki?
Yaki makes such a good player of the match because of just how much value he was getting with these shuriken damages, like dash resets, all of these blades as well. I mean, look at this. He knows how to, like, he has the reflexes also to just hit deflect when he needs to, when he knows that's going to secure a kill. The Genji skill today was very, very high showing here from Yaki.
Yaki Simps rise up, top 5 flex DPS.
You kind of called it earlier today.
Custer in shambles right now. Maybe crying when we go back to the truck in a moment. But yeah, Yaki, player of the match. To be fair, I think you could also have given it to Kellen. I think Anson J also had a fairly decent game on the Lucio. We were talking about that in the break, actually.
Like
how
so
Anson
good
J, how well
that
he's been doing.
that Paris had to focus him down, right?
Yeah. He was very annoying. He was good, but being very annoying to Paris Eternal. Yeah, him and Yaki a lot of the time were just kind of working together as a group, just trying to flank, trying to get Dove out of position, and yeah, ended up working out, and Yaki takes it today. 3.4 Dragon Blade kills per 10, not looking too bad whatsoever. But yeah, New York's story doesn't end here. They're going to have to wait for all the other results to pour in over the weekend and then face Mayhem in the very last match of the qualifiers. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. We got a banger of a game coming up soon. We got the Shock versus the Fuel. 2 teams undefeated in the qualifiers thus far. We'll have to wait and see how that one turns out after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined now by Yaki from New York Excelsior. Yaki, congratulations on the win. And of course, congratulations on getting the player of the match as well. Now, you know, this stage, you guys had a strong start to this stage. You guys beat the Houston Outlaws. But unfortunately, after that, you guys had 3 consecutive losses. So, what was your mentality coming into today's match against Paris Eternal? 자, 오늘 일단 승리 축하드리고 오늘 POTM 받으신 것도 너무 축하드리면서 이번 스테이지 시작은 굉장히 좋았던 것 같아요. 휴스턴을 이기면서 하지만은 그 다음에 이제 3연패를 하시게 되는데 그것 때문에 좀 오늘 경기에 들어오면서 좀 어떤 마음가짐으로 오늘 경기에 임하셨나요?
아무래도 초반에는 저희가 휴스턴전도 좀 기적적으로 이겼는데 그 후에 내리 3연패 받고 아무래도 이 전 시즌들도 다 성적이 안 좋다 보니까 이번 토너먼트에서 이제 한 번이라도 지면은 아예 이 프롭이나 이번 토너먼트 프롭도 가기 힘든 그런 상황이라서 저번 주 쇼크전부터 저희가 엄청 많이 준비하고 있습니다. 아무래도 이번 메이엠전 때도 저희 아직 다 전략이 나온 게 아니라서 더 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
All right. I mean, early on this stage, like you said, you know, we had our win against the Houston Outlaws. It was a decisive win, but after that, you know, our performance haven't been really living up to what our expectations were. So coming into today, our mindset was if we lose one more match, it could have really affect our whole season, not only for this tournament, but also in our season playoffs as well. So after our third loss, we really prepared coming into today's match, and also, you know, we prepared so much that like we have specific strategies, or we have a lot in plan for our next couple matches, like the Florida Mayhem matches as well. All right, so I'm gonna actually follow up on that question. So I mean, you said you have some strategies planned out for the Florida Mayhem as well, and that is a very important match for the New York Excelsior. Just because if you guys win that, you guys could qualify for the Summer Showdown tournament. So, what are your plans for your next match against the Florida Mayhem? 자, 방금 이제 말씀하셨던 플로리다 경기와의 좀 말씀을 하셨는데 좀 전략적인 거를 좀 빼고 이제 아무래도 그 경기 굉장히 중요하잖아요. 이제 그 경기를 이겨야 토너먼트 확정이 되기 때문에 그 경기를 좀 어떻게 하면은 뉴욕이 좀 좋은 성적을 낼 수 있을까요?
일단 저희 하던 대로만 해도 메이엠 지금 많이 안 좋아 보여가지고 메이엠은 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
Alright, honestly for right now, I think if we just play as usual, I think we will get the win because currently I do believe Mayhem is sort of struggling. So I think we just have to play our own game. I think that's how we will win the game against Florida Mayhem. Alright, Yaki, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much for your time and again, big congratulations on the win. 자, 이걸로 인터뷰 마치도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh yeah, Yaki. All right. I mean this. I don't know. I'm just blanking out today. But yeah, 3-1 victory for the New York Excelsior. I think up to the halfway point, New York looked really strong, and then Paris started to come up a little bit. But then at the end, it was New York Excelsior getting the win.
I think it was a better look, the best look we've seen from this new Paris roster at least, that they did get that map, and it was in a pretty convincing fashion. They finished the map, they did a great hold there on Junkertown. Even Colosseo, they pushed them right to the very edge. I thought there was potential, couple of picks, couple of extra things go their way, they could have got another map, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a reverse sweep. So you have to be confident if you are the Paris Eternal coming out of this match. Obviously, they had a tall ask coming into this stage when they have very little experience. You got to pull them together off of nothing. But, you know, they have another match coming up this weekend against the Florida Mayhem, and that's probably the weakest we've seen the Florida Mayhem look so far this season. So if they find a way to deal with this double flex support from them, I think there's definitely a chance that Paris Eternal could push them.
Yeah, on the other hand, I think that looking at New York Excelsior, it's a pretty good showcasing from them. I think that sometimes, you know, they have been struggling this season, and they got into a bit of a bad groove this stage. But we forget that they actually did reverse sweep the Houston Outlaws. They did take a map from the Dallas Fuel who looked so very impressive. So this is a New York Excelsior team who's had a very tough strength of schedule so far this stage as of recent, but now they are actually proving against the likes of Paraiso that they are a good team. That Yaki, for example, on the Genji, you saw the stat yourself at the bottom of your screen earlier, he had the most final blows in the server and the fewest deaths. I mean, that's about as impressive as it gets for someone like Yaki on this Genji. So, prime position to get a nice win against the Florida Mayhem and qualify for the Toronto tournament later on this stage. I said on Plat Chat that I think New York Excelsior will actually make it, which going into this week I think is a bit like, you know, it's a bit out there because they were 1-3. Obviously, they have 2 matches against Paris and Florida Mayhem. But like people forget, like this this New York Excelsior team, we're all losing it, Danny. It's cursed. This New York Excelsior team, like I think they're competent at least, and it would be nice to see them participate in the tournament in Toronto Define. You don't want to see some of these teams like Paris, Eternal, for example. New York Excelsior, like you don't want to see them just struggle all the time. You want to see them have a chance, you know, partake in some of these tournaments, and this is a great opportunity now. You're playing the Florida Mayhem later on, who look a bit scary with their Pharah and double flex support and stuff, but like if you can adapt accordingly, New York Excelsior qualifying for Toronto would be huge considering where they started this stage.
Yep. I mean, do you guys think New York will be the favorites going into their matchup against Florida Mayhem?
I think they're the favorites.
Yaki seemed very confident.
Yeah, but you have to be. But I think New York Excelsior are the favorites on like the default Junker Queen composition. Because like Florida Mayhem, with their support changes, it hasn't worked out. They haven't found a solution to their backline yet. You know, Sir Margel's been playing some Lucio and stuff like that. You know, I don't blame them, but like they haven't found an answer yet. But like, do I trust New York Excelsior to like adapt to Pharah coming out, Widowmaker play? I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
That's my big question as well, because like we've also seen Florida. I feel like they've had a very hard schedule as well. Like their most recent match, they took a map off of Dallas Fuel, a team that we think is one of the best. And if Dallas Fuel, you know, they got a little tongue-tied. They played a little bit of diva, got a little bit spicy from time to time. But and if you can force Dallas to make those kind of mistakes, who knows what you can force the New York Excelsior to do.
That is true. I think that is why it makes that matchup even more exciting. But talking about Dallas Fuel, they're playing today, and this matchup is even more exciting because the winner between San Francisco Shock versus Dallas Fuel will be going into the #1 seed. And these two teams are practically one of the 2 best teams that we have in the West, right? And they got some good Genji players as well, right?
Yeah, and these teams are just absolutely stacked. It's good to see Dallas Fuel sort of take their mantle again in one of the top teams in the West. They've been struggling so far this season, other than when we saw that Han Bin Zaya. But look at these Genji players. You know, Sparkle has been hyped up since 2020 on that Genji. He has been sort of the Genji aficionado. But now we got the young blood coming in. And Proper has just been on an absolute tear. And I think the major differences that you see between these two players is, I think, Proper is very good in the neutral. He gets those plays done outside of the blade. He's playing aggressive. He's opening things up. While Sparkle is a little bit more tempered, and you see that in the difference of their hero damage. 1,400 hero damage per 10 difference is a lot of damage, and that is noticed when you see these two teams going head-to-head. But Sparkle's very smart with his blades. He's always popping it at the right time. You'll see these two different styles clash in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be... This is like, it's kind of crazy. We got this one, which are between 2 of the best teams in the Western region this weekend. And then we also have Seoul versus Shanghai in the Eastern region, who are also undefeated at this stage. So, you know, it's Clash of the Titans this last week of qualifiers. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's just jump right into the match. San Francisco Shock versus Dallas Fuel. And for this match, we got Jonathan Necra again. Guys, who do you guys think is going to win this match?
Hello.
Hi. Oh, yeah.
Well,
hi.
Also, hello. No. What's up? Well, if you didn't know, I'm a bit of an Element Mystic simp. Surprise. Shocker, everybody. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, Dallas Fuel. Maybe a little bit of Dallas Fuel. It's tough. I'm honestly a little bit torn because I kind of love Arns too. A bit tough.
I'm going to have to go with Dallas as well.
Oh. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The whole
we were all shocked.
Okay. This is good.
Listen,
this is good. This is excellent.
I'm a Dallas fan, but I picked San Francisco Shock because we're still in the the qualifiers, and San Francisco Shock hasn't dropped a match yet. Now, if this was the tournament match, then I would probably pick Dallas.
Okay, hold on now. I think that Dallas Fuel has a great chance to stop San Francisco's win streak today. Today, it's going to be a momentous occasion.
Okay, I want to get you guys to clear this up for me, though. How are you defending all these maps that the Dallas Fuel have dropped? They have not had a clean 3-0 series the entire stage. Do you think San Francisco Shock is going to let them get away with that?
It's Junkertown. Junkertown's the problem. I actually went back and I looked at every single map that Dallas Fuel dropped. And there has been 2 occasions that Dallas Fuel has lost Junkertown, but it's not in this map pool for this match today. So it's not a problem.
Okay. I like it.
And that's what you call analysis.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure you listen and learn from this series. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all. We'll see you in a bit. San Francisco Shock versus the Dallas Fuel. Look, they're both undefeated coming into today, Rose, in these qualifiers, in the Summer Showdown qualifiers.
Right.
The San Francisco Shock still on a ridiculous win streak. They could be 18-0 in the regular season.
Yeah.
After today. Can the Dallas Fuel stop them? Questions up in the air right now. I think, regardless of like what the desk, it being Shock across the board, including the pick'ems, I think a lot of people will be voting. I would like to know the percentage of pick'ems who vote for Dallas, who vote Shock, because like Danny said, it's also pretty hard because we're in regular season and Shock have been undefeated. So
no, it's so
tough.
true.
But I think this match is a lot closer than what it appears on paper.
I think so as well. And like, I know we can all joke around, but it is so tough to pick and predict a winner of this match. I mean, however you slice it, San Francisco Shock has been incredibly consistent, especially with how fast they've taken some of these matches. But Dallas, you could also argue that they have a pretty iron mental. I was looking just at the historical data from this stage alone, and yes, Junkertown is in fact a factor, but it's also interesting to note that Dallas Fuel has dropped one of every map type. And it's been very inconsistent in that regard. So Dallas have to have a strong mental to come back from something like that too.
That's fine. Sometimes you need to be knocked down to get back up and reach higher heights, right? So losing one map every single map type kind of makes sense, yeah. Let's have a look at Shock, though. Let's have a look at their starters for today. But I can guess, everybody else could guess that their starting 5 will be these guys on your screen.
Yep.
Violet, Finn, Kalush, Proper, and Kilo. Man, they have been looking unreal, surprisingly. Still undefeated, like I mentioned, 17-0, could be 18-0 after today. And they picked up on the desk, the big matchup right now is going to be Proper versus Sparkle. 2 unbelievable Genji players, some of the best in the league that we have. And it's been just exceptional to watch Proper come in as a rookie and perform like this, and everybody we haven't even reached the playoffs yet, and no, he's MVP. Like, he's just that good. He's MVP. He's
rookie of the year.
Like, give him all the accolades already because of how well he's been doing, but it is just unreal, the performance this guy has been having.
That is the one factor that I think does sometimes skew the perception that Shock will win this match, right? And it's because of the fact that Proper can have these individual pop-off performances that can just cut through any team, literally any team, doesn't matter who it is. So maybe it is going to be Dallas that has to be on the receiving end of some of these giant Dragon Blades.
Well, let's have a look at Dallas. Sparkle, Edison, Hunman, Fielder, and Gio for today's starting lineup, but no Doha. And yeah, Sparkle was someone that was, I think Custer talked about it, but since 2020 or like even 2019 when he was on Element Mystic, how hyped up this guy was. Like, the bidding war was going crazy to sign him, and it was insane to see someone that had so much hype come into the league like that. But we are 2 years into Sparkle's, I guess 3 years technically, 2020, 2021, and 2022, of Sparkle's like legacy that he's building within the Overwatch League versus Proper, who's like just started his within the Overwatch League. Like, is insane. And for them to both meet in the last match they'll both play against each other on in the Summer Showdown qualifiers, both being undefeated, is just absurd. We might see history in the making here if the Dallas Fuel manage to take this one. We are going to Ilios as our first map, Rose, and like you mentioned, no Junkertown, so Fuel might be good.
Yeah, maybe Dallas Fuel will be fine. That seems to be the bane of their existence. Every time it's in the map pool, they always drop that map. I don't know what it is about that map in particular, but I do know that there are 2 pretty distinctive play styles between San Francisco and Dallas. And talking about this is why I would push a little bit more of an advantage towards the Dallas Fuel in this matchup. San Francisco struggled at the beginning of this stage, and a lot of it came down to them not playing together as a team, still relying on these giant individual hero moments with Proper, with Kilo. But Dallas Fuel, yeah, okay, they struggled a little bit too, but this composition plays so much like the Zarya comp that they ran through Kickoff Clash with. They can just deathball it and go from there. Or, you know, Sparkle I think is also competent enough to play by himself to really enable some of these larger group engages. So just a bit more consistent.
Let's open the ship doors. Is Eddie going to stay on the Ashe? Looks like it, yeah. So Ashe versus Kilo's Sojourn. Kind of seeing that though, you know, you get high ground. We kind of talked about this before in the first map. But as long as Edison can stay up here for free, the Dynamites just provide so much value.
And like, who do you have to send after? Yeah, how do you dislodge him? It's always a tough one because he can just coach gun you away as well.
Look at this. Shock have to actually make a move here. The Dallas Fuel have sent 2 people behind the Shock right now, and you can see the Shock just carrying in cage. Sparkle's going pretty low though. Should have deflect, taking a little bit of damage. Point is unlocked, and it looks like Violet is going to be there to cap with the help of Proper. Dallas Fuel now making their move in as they send Harbin to the point. Disruptor Field comes out. Meaning Shock almost grabbed that point for free. And in fact, they do, but Kilo ends up going down. Sparkle with the first blood, but oh, what a dash from Proper. Triple headshot with the Shuriken straight into the dash, but Sparkle finds 3 reset kills, maybe even a 4th. They make that 4 kills. Okay, give him the 5th, not quite. As Harbin takes care of Kaluge, just like that. Fuel find a flip.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you kind of have to allow San Francisco Shock to take the point because you as a team are not set up to engage just yet. So waiting for some of those more important cooldowns to come back online so you can have the deflect available for Sparkle, just so you can go in and try to mitigate some of that damage. But whoa, look at this. San Francisco Shock, I mean, they're gonna be coming back, but like it's a little bit of a split here. Oh my gosh, Violet gets so low. Sparkle's down.
Yeah. Fielder and Shio both fall pretty low. Couple of headshots there from Edison, but no extra damage to follow that up because Sparkle wasn't alive to follow through with a couple of Shurikens, a dash to get those resets. That's what you need. You need your Genji to be alive. Blade available from Proper. Regardless of those 5 or 4 kills Sparkle got earlier on, Proper's been farming the front line of the Fuel.
Look at that too, just kind of dodging out that knife. Bob?
Da Bob on the point, getting the cap. Okay, you like to see it. Okay, the San Francisco Shock a little bit worse for wear. Look at that dynamite damage from Edison, just kind of insane. Yeah, there you go. Little boot kill onto Proper, and that'll be it.
Oh, 25% from that dynamite. Edison's already gotten back a quarter of the Bob. And Sparkle as well has had enough time to build up to a Blade 2 without Proper using his. And so this is going to be a crazy battle between these 2 Genjis. You've got double support ultimates on either side as well, just to be able to help sustain. So this next fight could be a lot of ults being used at once. How the overclock too, yeah.
Yeah. Overclock, Blade for Sparkle. He's going to overlay it with the beat. Every support ultimate used. Proper trying to find some damage. Oh, he's found Edison. Edison pretty low. Just get taken out by Proper in the end. Coach gunned away from somebody and fell right into Proper's waiting Blade. Gets a reset off of Fielder. Make that 2. Shio dead. Sparkle falls. Proper with 4 kills in that fight and Shocked by the flip.
Wow, the Finn just coming in so clutch there as well. Did you see how low Proper got when he was going aggressive against the Dallas Fuel with the Blade? Finn was always there with a cookie, ready and waiting to make sure that Proper could stay up and get all of those picks. Now, what an interesting time we're in, because now that everything else is off the table, it's just rampages. But Edison opening up with a huge pick.
Yeah, big neutral fight start from Fuel. Like you said, only real rampages coming up. A couple of percentage points away from either Junker Queen. Very close flip there for the Fuel. They're so close to grabbing it. The Shock have 78% on the board. There comes the Rampage, hits 4. Kalush setting everybody pretty low, but the Dallas Fuel able to hold off long enough to get healed up. Harbin used a Rampage of his own and hits Proper and Violet, but Proper still finds the kill onto Harbin somehow, some way. A knife off the map for Kalush. He tries to chase Chio away from the point, but the Fuel all the meanwhile did manage to cap. Finn with a couple of whip shot kills, maybe off the map, not entirely sure, but he still found the damage. Violet laughing in chat as the shot recap is 85% and building. Dallas Fuel have one more fight in him and Harbin's gone through.
Okay, well, Harbin has to get back, and so I think this actually works out well. You're on Lighthouse, you have a lot of open space behind you to try to get a boop. Edison as well has the Bob,